Hello friends and students, I am Achal Khanna. I have been into teaching domain for quite some time. I have been preparing IAS aspirants and my area of specialization is essay. Now essay is one thing that a lot of students are worried because they prepare almost everything all the year round, but when it comes to essays they wait till they crack prelims. That's not the right strategy. Ideally, essay is one thing that requires a longer preparation. Another misconception about essays, people think that since they're preparing GS related things, they're studying polity, economy, and so many other things, and some people have sociology or other subjects as options. See, they're good at essays. But then, see, truth is very far away from this. In fact, essay requires a special preparation. Over the years, what I have seen is essay is one area along with paper 4 ethics and morality that make all the difference in means. When it comes to scoring, see, really well and scoring miserably bad, it's in fact the two things, paper 4 ethics and morality and essays play a huge role. A lot of students fail just because of it. See, and when it comes to scoring brilliant marks and making it to say finally the interview board and cracking the exam, these two subjects, see, could be your say strength or you could be your undoing. So without wasting any more time, let's talk about what are the things that we need to do in order to say have a very good preparation or a very good draft of essays. Today's see lecture is an earnest attempt on my part to say give you a framework. Though I'll not be going in detail, but it's just a beginning to give you the right direction. That's why I've come with this lecture. So in order to prepare you say for the right kind of things, I am governed by a very simple motive or a very simple say purpose of objective. See, be governed by the right content and practice. These are the two keys for writing a good essay. So to illustrate my views, actually I'll be taking actual UPSC topics. But before I do that, let's start what are the things, how to actually say prepare an essay or what kind of things help you in the draft. So there are two formulas that you can use. You can see that one thing that I've written is keyword approach. This stands for understanding the topic. See, always try to find what are the keywords in the topic. What is their relation? See, actually keyword is about relation. See, once you've understood the relation between the words, you need to understand the stem of the essay. What I mean by stem is something that is the primary thing of the essay. Once you've understood that, you need to work on a draft, and all this requires a lot of preparation and hard work. See, how to get the draft? See, one thing that can help you is you can take another formula, steppers. See, I'll break it. The S part of it stands for socio-cultural dimension. See, and T part for technical dimension. Here, technical doesn't just stand for only science and technology. It could be any kind of subjective knowledge or any kind of a subject specific knowledge that I have taken broadly in the sense technicals. For instance, if some understanding of psychology is required. So my idea in all this thing is that when you have to do these kind of things, you have to be very careful that you do not bring in too much of your optional. If you bring too much of your optional, the examiner will get it. So be cautious. Technical has to be kept a little general. Don't get into minute details of an optional understanding of your optional. That can be the spoiler. And another E stands for economic dimension of the topic. P stands for political dimension. And second P stands for philosophical or moral ethical dimension, and there's a difference between moral and ethical. As we proceed say in some coming classes or some coming lectures, I'll be explaining the difference in detail, and these are the kind of topics that UPSC has been favoring a lot. See, and next comes P, the third P. The most important part of an essay is the soul of the essay, your point of view, your primary opinion. Your primary opinion must be a direct answer to what you have understood of the stem. these two must be connected well, and nothing should be written outside the scope of these. If you write anything outside the scope of these, that will be considered as digression from the topic. Then you are going outside the scope of the topic. And once you have understood it, you have to provide examples. But then come to next R. This is the most important, body, reason. You know, the marks are awarded for how well you reason. See, reason doesn't necessarily mean just giving facts. It's more about how you discuss it, how you justify it with logic. See, if you know this thing in an essay, this is the body of the essay. These two together can fetch you the best of the marks. Examples directly correspond to what you have collected in terms of facts and figures. And then last but not least is structure. See, the sentences should be written in a proper structure, meaning that the sequence should be correct, not only just of the sentences but also of the paragraphs. That is what an ideal framework of an essay is. Not to just give you an illustration. How we do that? So we'll take some actual topics. 2019, if we try to look at, see 2019, what is very interesting to note about 2019 is that this particular year had some of the essays that kept everybody worried. So, and I guess everybody is aware that you have to write two essays. There are two sections, A and B, and you have to write 1,000 to 1,200 words essay in both of them, one each from both of them. So these are the topics, and personally my favorite is the topic that a lot of people will decide not to write, because the students are rather more worried about this thing, 1,000 to 1,200 words, than they are actually worried about content, when they actually should be worried about content. So to give you an illustration, I'll take the first topic, which I feel that a lot of people will not be comfortable, but I am very comfortable, and these are the kind of topics that, as you can see such kind of topics, ethics and morality, philosophical, I call them an abstract. These kind of topics are on the rise. So if you really want to do well, you also need to take these into account, other than the general topics. See, this is very close to being a general topic, but then I'll say that you have to prepare for both. You don't know which one would come. Since a lot of students are worried about these kind of topics, I'll take the very first topic. How to do that? What is the ideal way going? So going ahead. Now the first thing is to understand first the draft. What is the draft? For instance, the topic is wisdom finds truth. So the key terms are wisdom and truth. What is the relation between the two is the word find. So question arises, if you really want to understand the stem, you should try to take this as a statement from someone. Assume that somebody tells you wisdom finds truth. So before you start doing that, assume. Before you start writing or drafting an essay, assume. What question will you ask that person who comes and gives this view, wisdom finds truth? The correct question is, how? How wisdom finds truth? The moment you have understood this, this is the root or the stem of the essay. How? How wisdom finds truth? Nothing in the essay should be written outside the scope of this. The moment you go outside the scope of this, that will be digression. And to justify this, you require a lot of good content and also very good reasoning with proper structure. So how will we do that? As you can see, though you cannot draw diagrams kind of things out here, I will be actually illustrating with the help of diagram to explain you. But you don't have the scope of doing that. Actually, I've put this statement, wisdom finds truth, in a kind of a diagram. See, wisdom, what is the relation? There is some scope of wisdom which finally leads to truth. If you know this, you can write a very good essay. But this is where lies the body, if you can understand this. And this, if you can relate with truth, then see, these are the kind of things, if you can relate it, you'll be able to do that. Scope of wisdom. The most important thing is, within this, the scope. What is the scope of wisdom? Once you are able to understand the length and breadth and the entire scope of wisdom, you can justify your reasoning. So this is exactly what we will try to do, say, in the next when we'll take the draft. So ideally, what is the scope of wisdom? We must try to understand what is the complete scope of wisdom. So wisdom in itself is a very holistic thing. It's not just one thing, though it may appear to be. Wisdom is to certain extent related with a lot of values. If a person is said to be wise, or a person who has wisdom cannot be said to be wise unless the person has the full scope of understanding of what values is and practices them. It's not just about knowing it, but also practicing those things in the essence of their meaning. So there are several of them: honesty, truthfulness, and so many other things. This is where there is a challenge: how to make a start, which one to go ahead with, and how to connect them. So precisely within this, I'll show you a direction how to go ahead. Have a look here. I'll take 4 of them in the scope of today's class to explain. I've taken humility, knowledge, and wisdom and truth. I'll like to relate them. See, humility, knowledge, wisdom, and truth. So, but I like to start with truth, because truth is the goal of the essay, the objective, and wisdom is the means to get it. So, what is truth? So, truth must be distinguished from facts. Fact is something verifiable. Verifiable means there is some kind of a universal process or method which all of us apply to arrive at the same conclusion. To the extent that we can arrive at the same conclusion, we'll say it is a fact. But truth is not the same. And generally, when we say we have to arrive at the same conclusion with using the same method, then there is an underlying principle of what we call universal beliefs. Belief is different from fact. Now, universal belief is something that nobody can prove, but everybody still believes. For instance, we can take this as 7. None of us can prove that it is 7, but all of us believes that it is 7, and there is no exception to it. Such a thing is what we call universal belief. So when we try to verify something, we use universal beliefs. For instance, if I say the length of this room is 14 feet, what I need to do is I'll have to use the figures 14, and then what we mean by length, what is actually the dimension of wealth, it is in this direction or this. So these are all universal truths, or rather universal beliefs, not truths in fact, universal beliefs that we all agree, but nobody can prove them. So when we actually try to verify facts, we use them. So truth is different. See, fact is subject to change. For instance, the universal process might be wrong, the whole world might be wrong. See, truth is something that is not subject to change, but facts can be. For instance, in earlier ages, the earliest of the man thought that the earth is flat. And how the man arrived at that conclusion? Man had a universal process or method. Man would say to other, see, have a look, as far as you can see. And everybody used the same method, and the earth appeared to be flat when it wasn't. So facts, this is what I say, is something about facts, may change, though they do not easily change. But they are. In sharp contrast is truth. Truth is not subject to change. Rather, truth is not what we know, but what we ought to know, as I have started with it. It's a very good beginning. The introductory thing, see, should be a very good statement. Ideally, if you can borrow a quote, if not, try to pick your own sentence that conveys the idea very brilliantly. Truth is not what we know, but what we ought to know. And truth is something that is absolute, see, and eternal, means it can't be changed. So it remains the same. It is complete thing. It is not a part. It's absolute. It is something that withstands the test of time. That's why it is eternal. That's what it means. I'm trying to capture the essence in brilliant sentences. This is another thing of structured writing. But then, see, if truth not changes, what changes? It is our notion or opinion about truth that changes. Truth is not subject to change. What is there, was there, is there, and will be there. We don't know because we are governed by our limited sense of perception. Our knowledge is limited, not truth. Truth is unlimited. What changes with, say, knowing the truth is not the truth, but we change when we get to know the truth. So though I have ventured a little outside the scope of the topic to explain truth, but unless you know the correct meaning of the word truth, you will not be able to write it. So precisely what was I trying to do? Trying to connect what is truth. So what changes then is not truth, but see our notion. Then, and how does our notion change? It changes with the unfolding of wisdom. Very quickly I have come back to the topic. So now I'm trying to relate it with wisdom. I'm trying to connect to the topic. It was very clear, wisdom leads to truth. The question was how. So I have to ensure that I don't go outside the primary thing. This is the primary or the stem thing of the essay. So now a question arises. Can a person be said to be wise if the person is not knowledgeable? So there must be some relation, because if you are not knowledgeable, then you cannot be wise. But then what is knowledge? Is knowledge knowing something which is not true, or knowing something that is true? So you are said to be knowledgeable to the extent you know the truth. Your knowledge lies in proportion to knowing the truth. The more you know about the truth, the more knowledgeable you are. So there cannot be a person who can be said to be wise unless the person knows, and knows what? The right knowledge. So that is what it is. And see, but knowing what? Knowing something that is right or wrong, of course, something that can withstand the test of time, something that is inherently true. So, but how to know it? What is the right direction to know it? See, I'm trying to put it in an essay. I can write like this, but explanation is a different thing. You have to learn the art of writing. I have written it, but if you are supposed to write, you must also have this capacity to reason in your mind to write it. This is precisely what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to explain every sentence that I've written. Now I can say, but then knowing what is said to be knowledge, and what is the process or method of knowing it. So it's very simple. Since unless something can withstand the test of time, in other words, see, time shouldn't prove it wrong. It cannot be said to be truth. For something to have the real essence of knowledge or truth, it must have the capacity to withstand the test of time. So then we'll fall several times in knowing the correct aspect of knowledge, or gaining true knowledge. So when we are likely to fail several times, we'll be disheartened, and sometimes we might be governed by vain pride. What kind of vain pride? We may assume that what we have understood is right when it might not be. Then if you're governed by vain pride, you'll never get to know beyond what you know, and even that might not be completely right. It might have some or very little essence of truth which may not stand the test of time. So if you're likely to fail several times, then you must also be governed by the humility to accept your failure. Precisely what I have written. See, unless something can withstand the test of time, it is not true knowledge. Then what is the relation of knowledge? See, all terms are connected. That I'm trying to explain the scope of wisdom. So then what is that? See, one must not be governed by the vain pride to surrender to the error of judgment. Your error of judgment, you think it is right when it is not. But if you are governed by vain pride, you will not be ready to surrender it. Then, see, one who can really surrender it must have the gift of humility to concede, to admit, to accept that you were wrong. So then, see, humility is the first step in knowing or understanding the essence of truth, or rather, see, knowledge, because the sum total of all values will be wisdom, and that can be, see, what we'll say, you will be said to be knowing the truth. So only a wise person can know the truth. And who can be wise? One who has the sum total of all values. And humility is the first of them. That is exactly what I'm trying to reason. So you have to start with humility. Humility can pave the way for knowledge. And then more things come up. Humility is not alone, more things come up, as I have put in this kind of thing in the first statement. Humility, with humility you should also have perseverance, then you should also have integrity, you should also have courage, and so on. When you have all of them, then I can say that you have wisdom. And the moment you have wisdom, you also are, see, to certain extent close to truth, or you have to that extent become enlightened. Only a wise person can know truth. And to be wise, the person must withstand the test of all these things. As I'm trying to structure, you can see the sentences are written in a order, proper sequence, not like what you do. You don't have a structure. Sentences are not related to one another, but I'm trying to put them in a proper sequence. That is what we call structure. Then comes, if a person is not humble, then the person can never get knowledge. Then humility is the first step in the direction of wisdom. But humility is not the only thing. With humility, you should also have the perseverance. You should not give up, you should continue. There must be a commitment to continue, and you must also have the courage to withstand the odds presented by your failure. So when you have all these things and you keep on garnering more and more and gathering more and more of values, a time will come when you get to the truth, when you get to truth. So the objective is not to write the essay completely today. See, I have tried to just give you a brief way of how to structure an essay. And one thing that I like to add, of course, I'll be coming with the complete essay as the time proceeds. I'll be trying to put them in a proper paragraph. This was just an earnest attempt to give you an illustration. What is the method? Because I started with telling you that structure is a very important thing. You should have the ability to reason. As you can see that what I have done in the entire body is I'm trying to reason out. And reasoning fetches you the best of the marks. And what is the soul? That I understood with the question, see how wisdom leads to truth. Nothing can go outside that. And beyond that, I'll use reason to justify it. So that's exactly what I'm trying to do in the scope of this session. So, if you can connect to more of these as I can, you can write a brilliant essay. So I'll be coming again. When I do so, I'll be bringing the detail of the topic, and not only just this topic, other topics also. I specialize in all these areas. I've worked very hard. Essay is something, a creative side of yours. It's something that is the creative side. It's not that you can mug up. It's not something that you can copy from somewhere. It tests your ability to think, very much like an administrator, a person who all of a sudden is presented with something that the person is not aware. And when you can write a good essay, you can actually do that. So in the scope of my classes, I do not just dictate these kind of things. I also develop that kind of reason which is necessary to write an essay. Of course, I will be discussing plethora of topics, but when I do that, I'll also ensure that I put them into your head with the reason. Reason is very important. As I've tried to give that all these things are interconnected. Let me say values. There cannot be a value which can be complete without other values. All values have a relation, like a Venn diagram kind of a thing running. Different values, they are interrelated. No value is complete without the other. This is the kind of thing happens that value. If you can actually not draw this, but you can put it in your sentences with reason, you'll be able to write it. So with this, I'll end the lecture today. See, when I'll come the next time, I'll actually come with a detail of it and more of such essays. So I'll definitely like to have your views and your suggestions. One thing that I've learned in the scope of my career is that my students, on account of their curiosity, have taught me a lot. They have asked me questions, the answer of which was not present in the book. And that is what has gifted me with the skill of reason. Reason is something that doesn't come only by mugging up things, or rather at all by mugging up things. It's about when you think. When you think with an independent mind, you're not governed by some selfish objective. You have a very free mind. That reason comes in. And that is the most important thing of writing an essay. So that's it for today. Thanks a lot. See you some other time.